Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'll be breaking down the NBA slate for Friday, March 17th. We got an 8-game slate on for this Friday. A lot of good games on today, so yeah, let's go and get started with today's breakdown. Alright, at the top of the point guard list, you got James Harden against New Orleans. The Pelicans aren't that good defensively against the point guard, and Harden's price is pretty reasonable on Yahoo at only $62. If you want to pay up for him on this slate, he is definitely in play. He hadn't really been paying off his price tag lately, though, but I do think he can get you 60 fantasy points in this matchup. This game should be close. The Pelicans are playing pretty good ball this year, now that they have Boogie, so I do like Harden. I think he's in play. This game should be high scoring, and it should be a close game. Under him, you got John Wall against Chicago. Wall is currently questionable for this game. Even if he plays, I'm probably not going to be targeting him at $52. It says that he is a 50-50 to play, so I would imagine he sits this one out. But if he does play, I'm probably not going to be targeting him anyway, especially not at $52. At the mid-range, you got Goran Dragic against Minnesota. Dragic has been very consistent this year. This isn't a great matchup. Minnesota's pretty good defensively against the point guard. Ricky Rubio's been playing pretty good defense lately. But I do think Dragic is in play even at $33. The way he's been playing lately, he can pay that price tag off. So I do like Dragic. I think he's in play. That same price tag, you got D'Angelo Russell against Milwaukee. I'm not going to be targeting Russell on the slate. He started to play off the bench, and he's been struggling lately, and he's way overpriced on Yahoo at $33, so I'm not going to be on him. For a dollar less than Russell, you got Ricky Rubio against Miami. I really like Ricky Rubio on this slate if you're looking for a mid-range point guard. He's just been playing out of his mind lately, and he's way too cheap on Yahoo at $32. So if you need a point guard at the mid-range, I really like Ricky Rubio. He is definitely in play. He's just way too cheap. He can easily pay off his price tag. At that same price, you got Drew Holiday against Houston. Probably not going to be on Holiday on this slate. He's going to have to deal with Patrick Beverley defense. So I'm not going to be on Holiday. I would much rather have Ricky Rubio at that same price tag. Elfrid Payton against Phoenix. I really like this matchup for Payton. He's been playing very well lately. And this is a terrific matchup against the Suns. They really struggle defensively against the point guard. This game should be pretty high scoring as well. So I really like Payton. I think he has really good upside in this matchup. He could absolutely go off. So I like him for tournaments. And with all the point guard options on this slate, he will probably be low owned as well. So you can definitely target Payton at the mid-range for a guy for tournaments because he could go off in this matchup. And then on the cheaper end, you got Jordan Clarkson against Milwaukee. Clarkson's really stepped up ever since the Lakers have started to play their younger guys a lot more. Clarkson's really playing heavy minutes. His price has risen to $18, but he has been playing very well as of late. Like I said, he's been playing very heavy minutes. On his last 5 games, he's played 34, 35, 33, 33, and 39 minutes. So Clarkson's pretty much locked in for 30 minutes. So if you need a point guard on the cheaper end, I do like him. I think he's in play. And 2 cheap point guards I really like on the slate. First one's Rajon Rondo. He started the last 2 games for the Bulls, and he's been crushing lately. In the 2 games that he started, he's played 35 and 34 minutes and put up 37 and 41 fantasy points. If Rondo continues to start, he's going to be a lock for me on this slate, especially on Yahoo. He's just way too cheap at $13 if he starts. He will play at least 30 minutes, and he'll crush value. So I really like Rondo on this slate if he gets a start, especially on Yahoo. He's just way too cheap. He can easily pay off that price tag. And also another cheap point guard I like is Tyler Ulis. Eric Bledsoe has been shut down for the rest of the season. So Ulis should be the Suns' starting point guard for the rest of the season. And when Bledsoe missed Wednesday's game against Sacramento, Ulis played 38 minutes and put up 39 fantasy points. So I also really like him on this slate. I think he's a terrific value play, especially $11. He can easily pay off that price tag given this matchup against Orlando. They're not good defensively against the point guard. So I'm really liking Tyler Ulis on this slate for value. He's definitely going to be a guy I target. He shouldn't have a problem paying off that cheap price tag. And yeah, that's pretty much it for point guard. Let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. Your top shooting guard on this slate is DeMar DeRozan. He gets a pretty bad matchup against Detroit. They're really good defensively against the shooting guard. KCP is a really good defender. I doubt I'm going to be targeting DeRozan on this slate. I like that price tag, but given this matchup, I'm not sure if he can pay that off, so I'm not going to be on him. Under him, you got Bradley Beal against Chicago. If John Wall does not play in this game, then I'm really liking Bradley Beal. He's definitely going to be a shooting guard that I target. But if Wall plays, I'm probably not going to be on Beal, not at $36. But if John Wall is out, then Beal's usage will skyrocket. He'll be taking a lot more shots and doing a lot more offensively. So I really like Bradley Beal on this slate if John Wall does not play. At the mid-range, also like Devin Booker against Orlando. With Eric Bledsoe done for the season, Booker's really going to have to step up and do a lot more offensively. And I really like his price tag as well at only $28. He shouldn't have a problem paying that price tag off given this matchup against Orlando. They really struggled defensively against the shooting guard. So I really like Bledsoe at the mid-range. He's definitely going to be a guy I target on this slate. Also at the mid-range, I really like Avery Bradley against Brooklyn. Isaiah Thomas is going to be out for the next 2 games, so Bradley's really going to have to step up and do a lot more offensively. He's been playing very well as of late, and he is way underpriced on Yahoo at only $22, especially for this matchup against the Nets. He should be able to crush value. So I really like Avery Bradley at the mid-range. He's probably going to be the shooting guard that I target. He shouldn't have a problem paying off that cheap price tag given the matchup against the Nets. So I really like Avery Bradley on this slate. I think he's a terrific play at the mid-range. Also under Avery Bradley, I do like Evan Fournier against Phoenix. Fournier has been very consistent lately, and he's very cheap on Yahoo at only $20. He can easily pay off that price tag given this matchup against the Suns. They really struggled defensively against the shooting guard, so I do like Evan Fournier as well at the mid-range. But if I'm attacking that price range, I'll just try and find the $2 to get to Bradley, but I definitely think Fournier is in play on this slate. And if you need some value at the shooting guard position, I do like Jordan Crawford against Houston. Crawford just got a 2-year deal with the Pelicans, so the Pelicans are very high on this guy. They really like him. He's very cheap on Yahoo at only $14. I think he can pay off that price tag given this up-and-pace matchup against the Rockets. Crawford really thrives scoring the ball, and he's really going to have to do that in this up-and-pace matchup. So I like him at only $14. The only thing that keeps me away from rostering him is his minutes. He doesn't really play very heavy minutes, but he is a very good fantasy point per minute producer. So if he gets at least 20 minutes, he can pay off that price tag. So I do like Jordan Crawford at the shooting guard position if you need some value. I think he's in play. And yeah, that's pretty much it for shooting guard. Let's go ahead and move on to small forward. All right, the top of the small forward position, you got Jimmy Butler against Washington. I really like this matchup for Butler. The only thing that's going to keep me away from rostering him on this slate is his price tag. At $48 on Yahoo, I can't pay that price tag for Butler. Even though Dwayne Wade's out for the season and Butler's going to step up offensively, I still can't pay that price tag for him. So I won't be playing him on Yahoo, but he is definitely in play on other sites if his price is cheap. I do like this matchup, but at $48, he has to get you at least 50 fantasy points to pay off that price tag. And I don't think that's a very likely outcome, so for that reason, I'm not going to be on Butler. But I do really like him. With no D Wade, he's really going to have to step up, but I just can't pay that price tag for him. Under him, you got Andrew Wiggins against Miami. I really like this matchup for Wiggins, but he has been struggling lately, and his price hasn't reflected on that. He's still pretty expensive at $36, so I'm probably not going to be paying up for him. If he was a little bit cheaper, I would like him, but with the way he's been playing and how expensive he is, I'm not going to be on Wiggins. At the mid-range, I do like Chris Middleton against the Lakers. Middleton's price has risen to $26, which I'm not a big fan of, but I think he can pay off that price tag given this matchup. The Lakers are one of the worst defensive teams, and they play at a very fast pace. So I do think Middleton is in play. He can pay off his price given the matchup. He can easily get you 30 fantasy points, so I like him at the mid-range if you need a small forward there. I also like Dion Waiters against Minnesota. Waiters is very cheap on Yahoo with the way he's been playing. At only $24, he only has to get you 25 to 30 fantasy points to pay off that price tag. And he can easily do that given this matchup against Minnesota. So I also like Dion Waiters at the mid-range. I definitely think he is in play. Also, I like Jay Crowder against Brooklyn. With no Isaiah Thomas for this game, Crowder's also going to have to step up offensively. And this is a terrific matchup against the Nets. They're one of the worst defensive teams as well, and they play at a very fast pace. So I like Crowder as well at the mid-range. I think he's in play on the slate. He can easily pay off that price tag. Also like TJ Warren against Orlando. Orlando really struggles defensively against a small forward. And TJ Warren's been playing very well as of late, and he's pretty cheap on Yahoo at only $21. He can easily pay off that price tag given this matchup. So I like Warren at the mid-range. I think he's in play. And if you need some value, I like Trevor Ariza against New Orleans. Ariza has been playing very well as of late, and he's pretty cheap on Yahoo at only $17. In his last 5 games, he's put up 23, 21, 31, 26, and 35 fantasy points. With just a $17 price tag, he only has to get you about 25 fantasy points to pay that off. And he can definitely do that given this matchup against the Pelicans. They really struggle defensively against the small forward. So if you need some value at the small forward position, I like Trevor Ariza. I think he's in play. And one more value play I like is Brandon Ingram against Milwaukee. Ingram's actually been pretty consistent as of late. His last 5 games, he's put up 22, 29, 24, 19, and 28 fantasy points. And he's going to play heavy minutes just about every night. He'll probably play at least 30 minutes a night. So I like him on the slate at only $14. He only has to get you 20 to 25 fantasy points to pay that off. And he can definitely do that against Milwaukee. They're not good defensively against the small forward. So I also like Brandon Ingram on this slate if you need some value at the small forward position. I think he's in play. I would only use him in cash games, though, because he doesn't really have much of a ceiling. He'll be able to get you at least 20 to 25 fantasy points, but that's about it. He usually never goes off for 30 to 40 fantasy points, so for that reason, I wouldn't use him in tournaments. But for cash games, he can definitely pay off his price tag, so I like him for the cash, but for tournaments, he doesn't have much upside. And yeah, that's pretty much it for small forward. Let's go ahead and move on to power forward. All right, the top of the power forward list, you got Anthony Davis against Houston. I really like this matchup for AD. Houston really struggles defensively against the power forward, and they play at a very fast pace. I'm not a big fan of AD's price tag at $54, but given this matchup, I think he is in play. He does have good upside in this matchup. He could go off against Houston, so I like AD for tournaments, but for cash games, I think there's other studs that you want to target. Under AD, you got Giannis against the Lakers. Also really like this matchup for Giannis. The Lakers really struggle defensively, and they play at a very fast pace. I'm not a big fan of Giannis' price tag either at $52. He has been struggling lately, but I think he can bounce back in this matchup and get you 50 fantasy points. So I like him. If you're wanting to pay up at power forward, I also think he is in play. Dario Saric against Dallas, probably not going to go there on this slate. I'm not a big fan of Saric's price tag at $32, and this is going to be a slow-paced matchup, so I'm not going to be targeting him. Under Sarge, I do like Julius Randle against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's not good defensively against the power forward, and Randle has been playing very well as of late, and he's pretty cheap on Yahoo as well at only $30. Given this matchup, I think he can pay off that price tag. So if you need a mid-range power forward on this slate, I do like Julius Randle. I think he's in play. For cash games, I like Harrison Barnes against the Sixers. The Sixers are one of the worst defensive teams against the power forward. Barnes is very cheap on Yahoo at only $26. He can easily pay off that price tag. Barnes can easily get you 30 fantasy points in this matchup, so I really like him for cash games. He's definitely going to be a cash game power forward I target on this slate. Another mid-range power forward I like is Aaron Gordon against Phoenix. Phoenix is really bad defensively against the power forward, and this is going to be a very fast-paced game. So I really like Aaron Gordon at only $22. If you need a mid-range power forward on this slate, I think he's a guy you should target. He can easily pay off his price tag given this matchup, so I like him. On the cheaper end, I like Ryan Anderson against New Orleans. I would only use Anderson in tournaments because he is a little inconsistent. But this is a revenge game for Anderson. He did play for the Pelicans last year, so he might come out with a little bit of extra fire in this game, and he could go off. So I like Anderson for tournaments, but for cash games, I wouldn't use him. He's just too inconsistent. And then on the cheaper end at power forward, I like Rondé Hollis-Jefferson against Boston. RHJ has been pretty consistent as of late, and Boston really struggles defensively against the power forward. RHJ is also very cheap on Yahoo at only $11. He can easily pay off that price tag in this matchup. So if you need some value at power forward, I like him. I think he's in play. Also at that same price tag, I really like Marquese Chriss against Orlando. Orlando really struggles defensively against the power forward, and Chriss is very cheap on Yahoo at only $11. He's actually been playing very well as of late. In his last game against Sacramento, he went off for 40 fantasy points in 32 minutes. They're going to start playing Chriss a lot more. The Suns are trying to play their younger guys a lot more, get them some more experience. So Chriss is probably going to play at least 30 minutes just about every night, as long as he can stay out of foul trouble. So I really like him in this matchup. He should be able to dominate against Orlando. They're really bad defensively against the power forward. So I'm really liking Marquese Chriss on this slate for value. I think he can get you at least 20 fantasy points with upside up to 40. So I'm really liking him in cash games and tournaments. He shouldn't have a problem paying off his price tag. And he also has really good upside in this matchup. So I like Marquese Chriss. He's definitely going to be a power forward I target on this slate. And yeah, that's pretty much it for power forward. Let's go ahead and move on to center. All right, the top of the center list, you got DeMarcus Cousins against Houston. I'm really liking Boogie in this matchup, and I also like that price tag at $52. Yahoo has finally decided to start dropping his price, so I think he is in play at that price tag. In Boogie's first game as a Pelican, it was against the Rockets, and he dropped 68 fantasy points in 38 minutes. So in the first game that Boogie played as a Pelican, he went off against the Rockets. I think he goes off today. I'm really liking Boogie at the center position. He's probably going to be the center that I target on this slate. I think he has a really good game today. Houston really struggles defensively against the center. So I really like Boogie on this slate. I think he goes off, gets you at least 60 fantasy points in this game. Under him, you got Karl Anthony Towns against Miami. If you're not wanting to pay up For Boogie, I do think Cat is definitely in play at just $2 cheaper. Miami's really bad defensively against the center. Hassan Whiteside is not a good defender. And Cat's been playing very well as of late. So I definitely think if you want to pay up at center but you don't want to pay all the way to the top, I like Towns at just $2 cheaper than Boogie. He's also definitely in play. Under Towns, you got Hassan Whiteside against Minnesota. Also really like Whiteside as well if you're wanting to pay up. Cat's not that good of a defender. And Whiteside's very cheap on Yahoo at only $32. He can easily pay out that price tag. So I definitely think he is in play on this slate if you're wanting to pay up. Andre Drummond against Toronto. Probably not going to go there on this slate. I like Drummond's price tag, but I'm not a big fan of this matchup. Toronto's pretty good defensively against the center, so I don't think I'm going to be on Drummond. That same price tag, I like Nikola Vucevic against Phoenix. Vuce has been very consistent lately, and he's pretty cheap as well at only $30. So if you need a mid-range center on this slate, I like Vuce. I think he's in play. He shouldn't have a problem paying off his price tag given this matchup. Also at the mid-range, I like Brook Lopez against Boston. Boston's not good defensively against the center. And I really like this matchup for Brolo. I think he can dominate against Al Horford. So if you need a mid-range center on this slate, I definitely think Brolo is a guy you should target. He's definitely in play. Also at $2 cheaper, I really like Al Horford in that same game. Brook Lopez is not a good defender either. And I definitely think Horford's in play, especially at $23. That's very cheap for him. He can easily pay off that price tag against the Nets. So I like Horford as well if you need a mid-range center on the slate. I definitely think he is in play. And then on the cheaper end, I like Allen Williams against Orlando. I'm not a big fan of Williams' price tag at $18, but he's actually been playing very well lately. And he's actually been pretty consistent as well. In his last 5 games, he's put up 27, 34, 22, 28, and 35 fantasy points. He's played 24, 22, 26, 25, and 30 minutes. So I like Allen Williams in this game. Orlando really struggles defensively against the center. I think Williams can pay off his price tag. I don't think I'd use him in cash just because he can get in foul trouble. But he could absolutely go off if he gets 30-plus minutes. He could go off for 40 fantasy points. So I'm really liking Allen Williams for tournaments. But for cash games, I think there are other centers to target. Also at the cheaper end, I like Clint Capela against New Orleans. New Orleans usually has one big on the floor at all times. They usually have Boogie or AD on the floor at all times. So I think Capela is going to have to play heavy minutes in this matchup. And given his price tag at $17, I definitely think he is in play on the cheaper end if you need a cheap center. He can easily pay off his price tag. And I think he's going to have to play at least 25 to 30 minutes since the Pelicans usually have one big on the floor at all times. So I like Capela on the cheaper end. I think he's in play for value. Also at the cheaper end, I like Jahlil Okafor against Dallas. Dallas did lose their best rim protector in Andrew Bogut, so Okafor's going to go up against Nerlens Noel, and Noel is not a good defender. So I really like Okafor on this slate as well at only $12. He can easily pay off that price tag. I don't really like the pace of this game. Dallas does play at a very slow pace. Okafor can still pay off his cheap price tag. He can get you at least 20 to 25 fantasy points in this matchup, so I like him for value on this slate. And one more value play I like is Ivica Zubac against Milwaukee. Milwaukee really struggles defensively against the center. A lot of people probably aren't going to roster Zubac because he burned everyone. Wednesday against Houston, he only played 10 minutes and put up 6 fantasy points. But that was because he got in foul trouble. I definitely think he is going to bounce back today and get you at least 20 fantasy points. So I really like Zubac on the cheaper end as well. I like him for tournaments as well because I feel like people are going to shy away from him because he burned everybody. So you can get him at low ownership, and he does have very good upside in this matchup. Like I said, Milwaukee's really bad defensively against the center, so I like Zubac on the slate for value. I think he's in play. And yeah, that's pretty much it for center. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my starting 5. Alright guys, so this is my starting 5 for the NBA slate on Friday, March 17th. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments or hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, and I'll be sure to answer your question. If you guys want my full updated lineup before lock, then follow me on Twitter and send me a message and I'll get you a lineup. Whether you play on Yahoo, FanDuel, or DraftKings, you can get my lineups. I give out lineups for those 3 sites. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. We did hit 2,000 subscribers yesterday, so thank you guys so much for that. It really means a lot to me, so thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who has supported my channel lately. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Good luck tonight. Peace, guys.
Summer got shorter. The leaves started falling, it turned into autumn. The whole handle's gone. We're just alcoholics, guess that's what you call it. We started July, don't stop until August. We mix it with bills in the yacht, that's what we call it. We alcoholics.